Let's start the class with 3 ohms. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are in the Drg Drishya Viveka text, which we started about 8 sessions before. Today is the 9th session of this text, and we are in the 35th verse, the 3rd section. Drg Drishya Viveka. The text means it's an analysis of who is the seer of this body, who is the seer of my mind, who is the seer of this universe. The seer is called as consciousness, and the seen body, mind, and the universe is called as Drishyam. Seer is called as Drg, and the seen is Drishya. So the text basically deals with pure consciousness, which is my real nature, as the seer of this body, seer of my mind, and also seer of this entire universe. How does this happen? So this text technically explains to us how do I see this world. So in the verse 1 to 5 of this text, it was told that there are 3 seers. How do I see first? I see the world through my eyes. So the eyes are the first level of the seerhood. Then, for the eyes, the world is seen. Eyes are one, but the world objects are many. Similarly, I also hear sound. So the 5 types of world which I enjoy in my waking state are objects of the 5 sense organs. So the sense organs are the seer, the sense objects are the seen. For the 5 sense organs, the mind is the seer. So the second level of seerhood is the mind. Suppose the mind is not behind your eyes or behind your ears, you will miss the class. Suppose the mind is thinking of a tennis match I should be watching today, you would have missed the class completely, and your mind will be purely on the tennis match or the marriage party you have to attend or something else. So the mind is the second seer. It is behind the sense organs. If the mind doesn't function, the sense organs cannot function, as in sleep state. When the mind is In passive condition, the sense organs cannot see the universe. Therefore, the author Vidyaranya says the second seer, the second level of seeing is the mind. Then we come to the third level. The third level is consciousness, pure consciousness in this body, which I am not aware of today. I was never aware of something called as consciousness. All the time I knew that I was conscious, but I didn't know what is this consciousness. So this Drg Drishya Viveka is teaching me that this consciousness, which I have been always enjoying in my life since birth till today, is the third type of seer. And this seer is what the text is trying to explain to us in complete detail. So if you have gone through these 34 verses till now, you would know that consciousness is the ultimate seer. This consciousness sees the thoughts in my mind. It becomes aware of the emotions which I have in my heart. It is aware of the happiness which I enjoy during my waking state and in sleep state. So this consciousness is the principle which is always there. That is what was the third seer. After the fifth verse, the entire verse up till verse 21 was describing the function of this consciousness, the function of the mind. How are they formed? Are they permanent? All this was discussed till verse number 21. Then the nature of this consciousness, we must remember. The nature of this consciousness is, it is pure existence. It is pure consciousness. And it is pure bliss. Very, very important definition of who I am as the spiritual aspect in me. We are not talking of the body. We are not talking of the mind. We are not talking of the world. We are talking about my own nature, which is called as Swarupam. What is my Swarupa? What is my real nature? My real nature is, I am an existent principle. I always exist. From birth till date, I have been existing. That is confirmed. We all know, but we don't know that we also exist without this body before the birth. We don't know that we exist after the body drops. We still exist. We don't know this information. This information is taught by the Upanishads, which is the fundamental source for the spiritual science called as Vedanta. So this pure existence and pure consciousness and pure Ananda or bliss is my real nature, which existed before the body was born. It will exist after the body falls. That is what is the aim of the text to realize for each seeker. This is the same topic discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the same topic discussed in the Narayaniyam. It is the same topic discussed in Bhagavatam. It is the same topic discussed in the Upanishads. My real nature, in different texts, the author is trying to reveal our true nature. Whatever you may be studying in the field of the spiritual study, any text which you may be doing, the aim is this ultimate teaching, I am Atma. And what is the nature of Atma? It can exist independently without the body, without the mind. These are all teachings from the Upanishads, which we are hearing, some of us for the first time. Some of us have heard it hundreds of times, but still they are not able to understand this Atma clearly. This clear understanding of who we are in our true nature comes by repeated listening, by reflecting on this truth, and by dropping the wrong notions that I am the body, I am the mind. How do I drop this notion? Was taught to us from verse 22 to 31. 6 different meditations were taught to us. 3 meditations internal, 3 meditations external. Internal meditation means I try to understand how to look at my own mind as an object. Till now, I have never learned it. But that author here, Vidyaranya, teaches us, see the mind exactly like how you would see a beautiful flower outside through the sense organs. And acknowledge the fact that I am the consciousness which is watching the mind. The mind has emotions. The intellect has got thoughts. The chitta has got memories of the past experiences. And the ahamkara keeps on saying, I am doing, I am the karta, I have enjoyed this, I have to do this. That is the karta, bhokta, ahamkara, the I notion. So each one of us, when we open up our mind and we start seeing the mind, these are the 4 things which will come up. Number 1, the past memories, which is called as chitta. Number 2, the second one is the buddhi. Chitta, buddhi. Buddhi means the faculty which says, yes, I will decide this. The faculty which will throw up thoughts of planning. The third one is the emotions. Oh, I felt so bad, I felt so happy, I felt so angry, I was dejected. All these emotions will come. That is called as manaha. So manaha, chitta, buddhi, and the last one is ahankara. I am the doer. I did this. I am guilty. I hurt somebody. These are all I. So when we see our mind, we should be clear in what area are we looking. Am I looking at the emotions? Am I looking at the karta and the bhokta? Ahankara? Is it the emotions? Karta, ahankara? Is it the one which is planning to do so many things? The buddhi, analyzing. Buddhi keeps on analyzing. A particular situation is there, the buddhi is trying to analyze. That is the analytical nature. Logically keeps on thinking. Was it right? Was it wrong? Was it this? That is all buddhi. we become aware of these four functions of the Antakaranam, the inner organ. Watching this is the first type of meditation called as Antar Mukha Dhyanam. Then the next level of meditation was taught to us as the Bahirmukha Dhyanam. Bahirmukha means what? You look outside with open eyes. And then you see, yes, everything is existing. The trees are existing, the sun is existing, the moon is existing, the world is existing. Existence is common to all the objects. That existence is what I try to separate from the world. And I try to see that that is continuously there, whereas this experiences keep on changing of the world. So when we look at the existence, pure nature of the external world and drop the changing part of the world, a new building comes up, a new building comes down. These are all changes. The external meditation was discussed three types that we discussed up to verse 31. 32 onwards, we are getting into the highest topic in the spiritual study, which is how do I try to segregate my consciousness from the body, consciousness from the mind. How do I segregate the existence part from the world? That is what we are trying to understand. And here, the author is very beautifully discussing this with reference to the three states of our experiences, which is waking, dream, and sleep. We have finished 32, 33, and 34. Today we are going to start with verse number 35. What was said in 32? It was said that there are three types of levels of consciousness. The first one is Vyavaharikam. Vyavaharikam means it is the waking state. And the second state is called as Pratibhasikam. These are just Sanskrit names. You try to understand the concept because consciousness is universal. That is what we are trying to reach through the words. So the second is called as the dream state, where the mind is throwing up objects and we are watching it. We means consciousness. So consciousness is in the waking state. It is experiencing the body plus the mind and the universe. That is the highest state. Then the second, which we know today. Then the second state is the dream state. And the third state is the pure consciousness state, which we are in our sleep state. There is no body, there is no time, there is no space, there is no objects, there is no relationships in the sleep state. The only thing in the sleep state is I am not aware of myself. I am not aware of the world. Therefore, I am ignorant about myself, ignorant about the world, which is not there in sleep. But I do exist watching this condition of the mind. This is a very, very important discovery in the field of spiritual science. Many Upanishads describe this as the ultimate realization. The sleep state without ignorance is my true nature of pure existence, pure consciousness, pure bliss. Our entire study from the verse number 34 onwards is based on the fact that I exist without the body, without the mind, as pure consciousness, which in Sanskrit is called as Paramarthikam. Paramarthikam means absolute. That is the intrinsic nature. So there are three levels. Number one, Paramarthikam, which is my real nature. I am the spiritual being. I'm not even a human being. I'm a spiritual being. So our starting point is not the waking state. Our starting point is the spiritual being status of mind. That is where we have to start in order to understand verse number 34 onwards till the last verse, till the 46th verse. In the 33rd verse, it was said that when we are identified with our body and mind, we have limitations. Body is born, body dies, body has got old age, body has got diseases, body has got so many problems. The mind also has got raga, dvesha, it has got attachments, it has got aversions, it has got so many impurities in it. That is called as vyavaharika. That means empirical reality. That means it is my own self with the body and mind. The 34th verse says there are topics in the Upanishads which deal with the Mahavakyam, which we covered last week, Tattvamasi. The Mahavakyam in the Upanishads, the author says, they deal with the Paramarthika Satya. That means my absolute nature. They do not deal with the waking state jivahood or the dream state jiva. The Upanishads are trying to reveal to me that I am a spiritual being. That was what was said in verse number 34. We are going to analyze this further from 35 today. I gave a long introduction because there were some new people who have come in today. But nevertheless, it's a good revision for all of us. The 35th and 36th verse is combined because the topic is the same, and it will go together if we study them together. What does it say in this verse? It talks about the karta bhokta jiva in the waking state. Now, every time, whenever we study these verses, we should know that there are three jivas. One jiva in the waking state, one jiva in the dream state, one jiva which is the ultimate jiva, which is my real nature, which is in the sleep state, but it is not the one with the ignorance, but one with the knowledge that I exist and I am conscious. That is what we should understand. The third jiva is my real nature, but not with ignorance. The ignorance is dropped when we study the scriptures. The only job of the scriptures is to wake us up from this long sleep in which we have been thinking that I am just resting, but I don't. And then waking is real and I rest. Again, waking is real, again I rest. This is what we have been thinking. But now the Upanishad is trying to tell us that I have another nature of mind, which is pure consciousness, but it doesn't mean that it is always without the world. It means that that same nature of mind continues in the waking, continues in the dream, continues in the sleep, but I should know that I am that pure consciousness. That is my real nature. So keep that in mind always, because that is the most important fact. If you don't understand that particular point of I am that pure being, not even a human being, but a spiritual being. Very important point throughout the verses from 32 onwards till 46. Remember that one fact. The consciousness is located in the buddhi. That is what it says in the 35th verse. And what does the consciousness do? Together with the buddhi, it becomes the doer of actions and enjoyer of the results of actions. This is called as the jiva. That is what is said in the 35th verse. 36th verse says that all what we enjoy in the world is called as jagat. Jagat means world. And what is the world? A definition of the world? It is sense objects for a jiva. Very beautiful definition. How do I define the world? The world is nothing but a group of 5 sense objects for the jivas to come and enjoy as per the results of actions which they have done in the past. That's all. The world is got only this purpose. I have certain, all the jivas, all of us are jivas. We have done certain actions in this birth, from birth till date. We have also done actions in the previous births. And some results of those previous births, it will require a different situation, a different body. Therefore, I am enjoying in this birth all the results of actions which are presented by this world before me. And while doing this action, enjoying these actions, I also perform new actions. Again, I will get result of actions which will get added on, and then it may come this birth or the next birth. So the world is defined in verse number 36. These are the two essential points of 35 and 36. So the Vyavaharika Jiva is different than the Paramarthika Jiva, but at the same time it is identical. In what way is it identical? Because it is Purnam. Purnam means what? Fulfilled. Actually, the jiva is really fulfilled. It need not go and search for fulfillment from the world. Then how does this Vyavaharika Jiva rise from Brahman? Or Brahman is nothing else but the name of consciousness. How does this Jiva, Vyavaharika Jiva, rise from this consciousness? Imagine a state where there is no Jiva rising from that pure consciousness, pure being. Then there will be no Vyavaharika Jiva to come and enjoy in the waking state. There will be no dreamer who will be coming to enjoy the world in the dream state. That is what is said, that if we can understand that this is our real nature, then Paramarthika Jiva, that means the spiritual being alone will be there, This is the situation which is described beautifully in an Upanishad called as Aitareya Upanishad. Whenever we are trying to know what is the source of my real nature, always we have to go to the Upanishads. This Upanishad describes the state of a spiritual being. The first mantra in the first chapter of this Upanishad says that in the beginning, Atma, the self, the spiritual being, alone was this universe. That means the cause of this universe is nothing else but this pure consciousness. The cause for a pot is clay. The cause for a ring is gold. The cause for the furniture is wood. The cause for the world is pure consciousness. He thought, I shall indeed create the worlds. He means what? That consciousness, the spiritual being, then created the waking state and the dream state. Paramarthika Jiva, Brahman, pure spiritual being, decided to use his Maya Shakti. So how does this waking state come? It is because that spiritual being, I, the spiritual being, I have a special power which is called as the Devi Shakti. In Narayaniam, we talk about the Devi Mahatmya. So what is that power? Through that power, I discover my real nature. That power is called as cosmic Nidra Shakti, which is called as Maya. If you go step by step in this type of analysis, you will be able to realize the true nature. So I, the pure spiritual being, I have a certain power which is called as the Maya Shakti. This is a cosmic power. We are not talking about the individual sleep. In the individual sleep of an individual also is a Shakti. The same type of Shakti exists in the cosmos. So then what happens? That pure spiritual being projects the waking state for that particular jiva. Okay, you are a jiva, I am a jiva, there is so many jivas, 3 billion jivas in the world. So it projects the universe, it comes down and identifies with one waking body. You identify with your body, I identify with my body. So similarly, that pure spiritual being becomes the Vyavaharika Shariram. Vyavaharika Shariram means the waking state body, the waking state mind. Then it also becomes the reflection in the body. That is what is called as Vyavaharika Chit Abhasa. That means the spiritual being only reflects in the mind. That's all. The job of the spiritual being is over. It is there. It is there. It gets reflected in the mind of a jiva when it wakes up in the morning. And then this reflected consciousness, after having woken up the mind, then the mind becomes the ahankara. I am the body. I have to do all the activities for the day. Again, during the day, I enjoy certain fruits of actions. Again, I go to sleep. So this one pure spiritual being creates the Vyavaharika Shariram, Vyavaharika Chirabhasa, and Vyavaharika world. Vyavaharika world means what? It is in the vritti form. All the objects which we are experiencing, according to the scriptures, they are all coming into the jiva in the form of thoughts. A thought of a sound, a thought of touch, a thought of the form of the world. When I look outside, it looks very beautiful, but they are all coming into me through the eyes as thoughts, as vrittis. The dreamer in dream looks upon the dream as real, but it has veiled the waker. Now we are analyzing the dream. What happens in dream? The waker is forgotten, completely covered, and then the dream world starts. Waker. So what happens in dream is the covering nature of the waker. The covering nature we have discussed is called as Avarna Shakti. The two powers of Maya, which we discussed in the previous verses, that is what it is being said here. Avarna Shakti. I'm going a little slow because I'm explaining this verse in detail, because if you understand this verse, you will understand the rest of the verses which are going to come forth. So what happens? The waker gets covered and then the dream world becomes real for us. Similarly, the waker forgets that he is that pure spiritual being, and he forgets that he has got the Shakti called as Maya Shakti. And then he performs activities in the waking state. I am talking to you now, you are listening. We are all having that power. We have lost that. We have been, as a waker, I have covered my real spiritual nature. The two Shaktis which are mentioned are Avarnam and Vikshepa. Avarnam means what? I forget my Purnatvam status. I forget that I am full. I am a pure being. I don't need in this body or mind. But because we have forgotten this nature of ours, the scriptures tell us to wake up. Wake up to this pure nature of ours. That is why we are learning this scriptures. And the second form of that power, which is the Maya Shakti in us, is it creates the world and it creates the projections. It is my own projections and I get caught in my own projections. This is what is happening to all of us. Right from birth till date, we have been projecting in our mind. I should do this, I should become this, we are always becoming something. I want to get married, I want to become something, I want to get children, I want to, become old. So these are all becoming, or always becoming. That means we are projecting. Every day we are projecting. So these are the two Shaktis to understand that from where this pure being has slipped and has fallen down to as an individual in the waking state. The consciousness is present in the buddhi as the karta and bhokta. This is what is called as the reflection. The karta bhokta is the karta means what? Doer. I am a doer of action. I am listening to a class. I will say I am talking. This is a karta. And the five elements are the objects of enjoyments, and that is what I said is the world. And the definition of jiva is what? It is the reflected consciousness in the mind. That consciousness, when we are asleep, there is no mind, mind is sleeping, mind is passive. That consciousness, which is the pure spiritual being, is getting reflected, and then I have this entire waking state. How does this, if you see the picture, the mind is the mirror, and it is the mirror is where the reflection falls, And the jiva is this paramarthika jiva. It is all alone in the sleep state. But then it gets reflected. That means what you see this picture is only a chit abhasa, reflection. So that pure existence is what this picture here represents, consciousness. This consciousness is the life in this body. Normally we say the life in the body is the prana. The prana is nothing else but the mirror. Prana together with the 17 organs, subtle organs, is the mirror, which is called as the subtle body. The reflection is called as the chidabhasa. So when this mind mirror is not there, what happens? This chidabhasa joins the chit. And then this is called as paramarthika. This is my real nature. Again, my reflection comes in the waking state when this mind wakes up. And why does the mind wake up? Mind wakes up because of prarabdha karma. In the karana shariram of a jiva, there are certain results which the jiva has to enjoy. In order to enjoy the results of the past action, the mind wakes up. So the mind together with this reflected consciousness is called as the vyavaharika jiva. That is what we are used to. This is what we are used to in our waking state. Then it looks at the entire universe. The universe is outside the mirror. Till here is the jiva. The jiva, which we all know, outside is the world of sense objects. As chidabhasa, we become karta bhokta associated with the body-mind complex. Whatever I do as chidabhasa produce punyam and papa. The vavaharika jiva, it cannot escape the past. That means the results of actions which is there in your account as the karana shariram. Karana shariram is what? The body in which I am there in my sleep state. The body. Like we have the physical body in the waking state, we have the subtle body in the dream state, we have the karana shariram with punya papam karma results in the sleep state. The dream we put an end by waking up from the dream to the waking state. Mundaka Upanishad says that you understand this world, examine this world. This world is nothing else but it is governed by karma. It is governed by the desires. That's all. All we do throughout the life is, I have a desire to fulfill, I fulfill my desire. I have a desire to pass my exams when I was young. I had a desire to get married when I was youth. Then I had children. I had a desire for children. I had a desire for enjoying certain things in the world. If you analyze all our lives, it is the desire which drives us. Each of these desires gives us results, either sukham or dukkham, either sorrow or joy. That sorrowful or joyful jiva is nothing else but the vyavaharika jiva. But what happens to this paramarthika jiva? It is always without a body, it is always without the mind. It exists by itself as pure chit, pure existence, pure consciousness. And that is my real true nature. That was verse number 36. Verse number 37 says that the waker is called as the empirical vyavaharika jiva, and it has woken up from the Turiyam state. Turiyam means that pure Sakshi or the pure spiritual being. The author has used a word called as Sakshi. For the pure spiritual being, he has used the word Sakshi that will come in later verses. I will start using that word for the pure spiritual being as Sakshi. So because this jiva has been waking up from time immemorial and then sleeping, again taking different bodies, we call the waking and the dream as empirical reality. This definition, this particular verse is only telling us how we have been asleep to our real nature of Sakshi, and we have been thinking that I am a jiva identified with the mind. As jiva, if I identify with the mind, I am called as ahankara, the waker, the dreamer. Or if I identify with the sleeping body, I am called as the sleeper. Whereas the Paramarthika Jiva is called as Sakshi. In all the transactions, the reflected consciousness is involved, which is called as Chidabhasa. And the pure Sakshi is Avyavaharyam. Avyavaharya means there is no association with action. The Sakshi has no association with action ever. It has always been Sakshi. It will be Sakshi. In between, we are the Jivas. So who am I? If somebody asks you, only one word you use, Sakshi. Sakshi in English means witness. And why am I called witness? Because I don't get involved as pure consciousness in any action. I am not associated with the Jagat. Jagat means the world. The Waker Jiva cannot do any transaction in the dream. Similarly, the pure Sakshi cannot do any transaction in the waking. Beginning of dream can't be talked about because it is going on forever. Since my birth, I've been having dreams. In my previous birth also, I had dreams. As a waker, I am enjoying this world. In the previous births also, I enjoyed the same world. World is the same. Only my body has kept on changing. Body was born in London, body was born in America, body was born in Singapore, body was born in India. Bodies have changed, but I have not changed. The world has not changed. The jiva has not changed. But now the jiva knows I am not the body, I am not the waker, I am not the dreamer, I am the Sakshi. Can the dreamer ask how long was I dreamer and when did I start dreaming? He cannot. From the waker standpoint, we can say, yes, the dream might have started at, say, 2 in the morning. But it's only from the waker standpoint. The beginning of dream is end of waking. The beginning of waking is the end of knowing that I am Turiyam or I am Sakshi. That is what is the essence. It is trying to give us the definition of who is this jiva, and this jiva in the empirical reality is called as Vyavaharikam. So until the spiritual awakening comes, this transactional field will continue. In any birth, whenever I come to know that I am that pure spiritual being, clearly we must know, not with any doubts. I must know crystal clear. I am the spiritual being without the body, without the sense organs, without the mind. I alone am. Like in the Aitareya Upanishad, the Lord said, it alone was existing. I am that same principle called as consciousness. Lord is also in its essential nature, the creator's essential nature is pure consciousness, awareness. Ego I, in the Dakshinamurti Stotram, the same topic, how the world is Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari, Tulyam Nijantargatam. And what does this mean? Remember the mirror example which I was describing earlier? Same thing is explained here. Like a city seen in a mirror, the whole world is seen in the mirror of the mind. Dakshinamurti Stotram, the first verse, describes the whole universe as nothing else but a reflection in the mirror of the mind. The ego I and the world are my higher I, Turiyam I's projection. That means the ahankara which I experience now, I am Rohini, I am Bhama, I am so and so. This I is actually the Sakshi I. It is identified with the body which has got a name. Jacqueline is a name given to the body. Amyanshu is a name given to the body and to the mind, which is there in this waking state. But the pure I, the pure Rohini, is nothing else but the spiritual Sakshi. This will continue, this ego I and world will continue till when? Till we realize, till that realization is called as moksha. Swapna is the result of Nidra Shakti. Nidra Shakti means the power to sleep. The power to sleep causes the dreams to be projected. Light in which we see the waking is our pure consciousness. The same light in which we see the dream is the light of consciousness. The light in which we experience our sleep state is also the blank state illumined by the consciousness light, the spiritual light. I am that spiritual light. Waking is what? Is a cosmic dream. Is a dream which belongs to that Sakshi. It is Sakshi which is appearing as this waking universe, like the waker appeared like the dream universe. Kathopanishad says, Uttishthatha, Jagrata, Prapya, Varan, Nibodhatha. What does it say? Kathopanishad, Lord Yama, the Lord of Death, is teaching Nachiketa, the student there. And he says, come on, wake up. Wake up from your wrong identification with the body. Wake up to your identification to the Sakshi. So, I, the Paramarthika Sakshi, am projecting the Vyavaharika, Jiva and Jagat. My power as the pure Sakshi, Sakshi is the same name like Brahman. Brahman, Sakshi, Paramarthika, all these are just words, yeah? They are all meaning the same one entity, which is the spiritual being. So that spiritual being has got Maya Shakti for the waking state and the Nidra Shakti for the dream state. The capacity to project the dream or waking is both together when we, that capacity to project both the waking and dream is called as Vikshepa Shakti. This is what we discuss, which we learned in the previous one, which is called as the Maya Shakti. So in short, what is the world? World is nothing else but Maya. This is what which we learn in the scriptures again and again in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Upanishads. Whenever we try to say, what is the world? What are we experiencing? It's all Maya. Maya means what? All projections. Gain knowledge of Brahman and then wake up. Wake up to the spiritual being. Verse number 38 talks about the sleep state. See, all these verses are going to talk about either the waking, dream, or sleep. And then what is the objective? The objective is very simple. I must know by analysis of these three states, I must know I am a spiritual being called as Sakshi. That's all. Once you know the goal, then all this analysis of each verse becomes easy. Sleep is said to be associated with consciousness wrongly presented in the mind. That means what? It is a Shakti. It is a Shakti of Maya which is deluding all of us. The nature and concealment of the projection is being described as the empirical reality. The Pratibhasika means the dream state. The jiva in the dream state is called as the dreamer or the Pratibhasika jiva. That means it's a projected jiva. Why is he called projected? Because, see, in the dream state, there is no real objects at all. It is all the projections of the mind. When it comes to dream, yes, we all will accept it very easily. Because, yes, in the waking state, the dream is not there. What the author and the scriptures tell us is, whatever is happening in the dream state, actually it is a similar thing which is happening in the waking state also. Our body is projected by our own mind through that Shakti. That Shakti, you should not forget the Shakti, because then you will not understand the body as to be a physical body, but it is a projection. Like the dream tiger, the dream mountains was projected by the thoughts. Similarly, the Vyavaharika is also projected jiva. Maya Shakti, Nidra Shakti. We have discussed that in the previous verse. What does the Nidra Shakti do? Nidra means the sleeping power in us. The power to sleep. What does it do? It covers the waker. When it covers the waker, it is called as avaranam, covering. And then what happens? When the waker is covered, the sleeper might just be lying asleep for some time, but that power in the, they say that actually the dream is only for 1.5 minutes compared to the waking time. All our dream, they say, is only 90 seconds. But 90 seconds appears as if it was, we take birth, we enjoy the whole dream, and then we experience the whole life in a dream. But that is dream time, which is different than the waking time. And it is different than the sleep time, in which there is no time at all. So here, Vikshepa Shakti is the projected fake dream world. And what Maya does, it covers, in the waking state, what does it do? It covers the Sakshi nature, Turiya nature. And then it projects what? The waking world. It projects a tangible world. Tangible means I can feel it, I can see it, I can smell it. These are all tangible. Tangible means the 5 sense organs are able to experience the world. So tangible is this world, it's impossible to say that it is a dream. But the scriptures tell us the proof that the waking is a dream, there is no other proof except the words of the scriptures. Upanishads are the one, Mandukya Upanishad, very simple, 12 verses, but it gives it is the entire pramanam, the source that the waking is a dream. The next verse, I will just finish this verse and then we will stop for the day. These two objects, that means the waking and dream, are perceived by the Sakshi only for a particular time period, till the person is woken up. Either is woken up from the dream to the waking, or he is woken up from the waking to the level of Sakshi. Therefore, we say both the dream and the waking are illusory. Perceptions only momentary. That means they are there only when it is being experienced. Waking time, it is experience. Dream time, it is experienced. In the sleep time, not experienced. That is why we say they are illusory and relative. Vaitatya Prakaranam, the second chapter of Mandukya Upanishad, tells us in very big detail why we say that the world is mithya. Mithya means appearance. And they say in that Vaitatya Prakaranam, the second chapter, it says that compared to the waking, the dream is inferior. Dream is like the rope snake. Compared to the rope snake, the rope is real. Rope means what I see as a rope in the waking state. So the waking state is a superior state, and the rope is the adhishtanam for the rope snake. So waker is the adhishtanam. Adhishtanam means substratum. It is at a higher level compared to the dream. And for the waker, what is the adhishtanam? Adhishtanam means the substratum is the Sakshi. So three words we have to remember: Sakshi, waker, dreamer, sleeper. 4 words. Waker, dreamer, sleeper, these three are relative. Waker is not in dream, dreamer is not in waking, sleeper is not in dream or waking. So the three I are not there in relative conditions. But the Sakshi is there in all of them. It is Sakshi of the waker, it is Sakshi of the dreamer, it is a Sakshi of the sleeper. This is how we should understand my pure spiritual being status. We should not negate everything and say that there is nothing. Nirvana Shatkam, it is for those who know this particular mantras, it says that I am not the body, I am not the buddhi, but it says I am the Satchidananda Swarupa Sakshi. So what has temporary reality is called as pratibhasikam. That means just a projection of the mind. Both dream and the waking are basically projections. Dream exists for 90 seconds at the time of rapid eye movement. Rapid eye movement is called as sleep. And the 40th verse is just a continuation. Let me finish it. It is just one small slide. He who is the illusory jiva thinks that illusory world as real, but the empirical jiva thinks that the world is unreal. That means again we are comparing the dream and the waking. When you are in waking, you think that the dream is unreal, but in waking you think it is real. So pratibhasika jiva means what? The dreamer. So the dreamer refuses to accept that the dream world is unreal. He has to wake up, and then the knowledge of the dream, the real knowledge of dream comes up. Similarly, the waker has to wake up to his knowledge of Sakshi, or the same Sakshi is also called as Turiyam. Turiyam means the fourth one. The fourth. I told you there are four. Remember four. Dreamer, sleeper, waker, and then Sakshi. Sakshi is also called as Turiyam. So the moment the waker comes to know that I am that Turiyam, then the realization to the Jiva happens. So in these verses up to 40 we have seen there are 6 more verses. I will complete the 6 verses in the next week, which is the 30th of September. No, next is the today is the Saturday, the 26th September. So we will complete this on the 26th September, and then on the 3rd of October we will start the Bhagavad Gita chapter wise. So next week will be the last class. We will quickly have a session to complete the remaining 6 verses of the Drg Drishya Viveka. If you have time, you can revise just the word meaning of these verses. If you have any questions, you can send me the questions by WhatsApp directly. You know my number in the WhatsApp group. My number is there. You can send me the questions. I will answer those questions in the next class. It may be a longer Q&A session because I want you to understand the Drg Drishya Viveka completely as has been taught in these sessions. And today being the 9th session, the next session is the 10th session. So 10 sessions we have taken Drg Drishya Viveka. If you are attending for the first time, you can go through the videos, you will understand them clearly. This text has explained to us the real nature. We have seen all the aspects of the study. First aspect is about the nature of Sakshi, nature of consciousness. Then it taught us how to meditate and know the real consciousness. Then the last portion is the Nididhyasana portion, where the teacher is trying to tell us how to drop the notion that I am the waker, dreamer, and sleeper, and hold on to the Sakshi as my real nature. The third section is a advanced text, advanced portion of Vedanta, where I learned to drop the notion, which is called as the Nididhyasana portion. So in this 46 verses, the entire spiritual study has been taken up. We have started with Tattva Bodha, we did Atma Bodha, and now from Tattva Bodha to Atma Bodha, you can see the level was different. From Atma Bodha to Drg Drishya Viveka, there is a difference in the level of teaching. This is the highest teaching, which is straight away taken from the Upanishads for the realization of the spiritual essence in me. If you have gone through these 10 sessions, you will be able to know that you are the Sakshi, the witness consciousness, which is the invariable factor throughout the life. I can hold on to this Sakshi and say, I am eternal being. The strength of that conviction comes because I believe and I have the Shraddha, the faith in the Vedas, and the Vedas will not teach something wrong. It will teach me the right thing. Whether you are doing the Narayanyam or Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, the truth is one. And the truth is, I am Sakshi. Hold on to this truth, face the life. That is the teaching. Enjoy the life. Enjoy whatever comes your way. The world is for enjoyment. It's not wrong to enjoy the world, but enjoy with the right vision. The vision of I am the Sakshi. I am the Drg. With that, I close for today's session. And the Bhagavad Gita I will start, which I said, on the 3rd of October is going to be a chapter-wise summary. It will take 6 months to complete 18 chapters. I will be going chapter by chapter, telling you the essence of each chapter. What are the important mantras? What is the meaning of each chapter? Each chapter, 18 chapters is roughly 18 weeks. I will take another 6 weeks because there are certain chapters which are very big. It might require 2 sessions like chapter 11, 10. These are chapters which will require more. Chapter 18, chapter 2. So 4 chapters are there which are very big chapters which will require at least 2 to 3 sessions, maybe. So roughly it's a 6-month study. If you're ready, you let me know next week. At the end of the class, I will, I will just maybe put a small survey, and then I'll ask you to fill up a survey and tell me, yes, you're interested. But if you're interested, please tell me so that I know who are coming, who are not coming, and then I can accordingly prepare or take up something else. So Bhagavad Gita from the 3rd of October for 6 months. It's a commitment every Saturday for 1 hour. And then we'll continue our meditation as we do now. Okay,